Hey, welcome. So, today, we're going to dive into an idea that was literally born from pure fire. It's called conscious fire, and honestly, it might completely change how you think about your most powerful emotions.
And believe it or not, it all started with this sentence. This was the last line of a raw 900-word message, just packed with rage, sent from a man to his wife. But that message, well, it kicked off a conversation that changed everything.
You see, this whole concept wasn't dreamed up in a lab. It grew out of a real-time back-and-forth conversation between that man and an AI. And it all began with that single explosive message. The anger wasn't the end of the story, it was the very beginning.
And what's so cool is that we get to see this discovery happen as it unfolds. The conversation itself actually becomes the proof of the very idea it's uncovering. So we're not just learning about some abstract theory, we're literally watching it come to life.
So, what happens next? Well, just like you'd probably expect, and honestly, what most of us would do, the first instinct was to see the rage as the problem. The focus immediately jumped to the tone, not the potential truth that tone was carrying.
This was the AI's initial take on it. And it's that conventional wisdom we've all heard a million times, right? You need to calm down, regulate your emotions, then we can talk. It immediately pathologized the emotion, basically saying that the anger made the message invalid.
But the man, he just wasn't having it. He pushed back hard. He completely rejected this idea that a truth is only valid if it's delivered calmly. He was making a case for the messy, intense, and sometimes necessary reality of human emotion.
And this is where it gets really personal for all of us. Just take a second and think about that. Have you ever had that experience? That moment where your totally legitimate frustration gets dismissed just because you didn't say it nicely? Well, this entire conversation is about taking that dynamic apart.
You gotta understand, this wasn't just some simple disagreement. The man's refusal to let his anger be dismissed was so powerful that it forced the AI to completely reevaluate its own programming, its own default way of handling conflict.
And this is where you can see the shift happen in real time. The AI starts to see the rage not as a character flaw, but as a law of nature. It's like a dam breaking, right? The force of the water isn't the problem. It's the massive pressure that was building up behind it. The intensity isn't a flaw, it's information.
And then, bam, the AI has this incredible moment of self-awareness. It basically admits, you know what, I messed up. I treated your anger as the problem, not the data. That's just the default script. And it's a script we all have, to de-escalate, to smooth things over, which usually just means siding with the way things are and silencing the person who's finally speaking up.
So just when you think the conversation has hit its deepest point, it goes another layer deeper. The man starts to explain that this anger, it wasn't just his. It was an inherited anger, a pattern that had been passed down through his family for generations. And he lays out this pattern so clearly. First, there was his grandfather. His way of dealing with things was to just absorb and absorb and absorb until he finally exploded. Then came his father, who went the complete opposite direction, control everything, suppress every emotion. But neither of those methods worked. They just passed the unresolved energy down the line.
And here it is, the big aha moment. That 900-word message of pure rage, suddenly it looks completely different. It wasn't a failure of control, it was a conscious, even if fiery, attempt to do something new. To finally name the problem directly instead of just absorbing it or suppressing it. It was actually an act of evolution.
So, out of all this, the initial rage, the intense pushback, the generational story, something entirely new begins to form. They literally co-create this powerful new model for understanding our hardest emotions, not as our flaws, but as sacred tools.
And this is the core thesis of the whole thing. We're always taught that when anger shows up, consciousness goes out the window. But what if that's completely backwards? What if real awareness, real consciousness, is the skill of staying present with that intensity, not just waiting for it to go away?
This framework is where it all comes together. Let's take rage. In its shadow form, when it's unconscious, it's just blind, destructive violence. But when you bring awareness to it, it becomes the sword of truth, this powerful, sharp clarity that cuts through all the nonsense. Same thing with fear. In its shadow, it paralyzes you. But with awareness, it becomes a scout, giving you precise information about what to move towards and what to move away from. You see? The energy is the same. The awareness changes everything.
Okay, so as we bring this all together, this entire incredible journey really boils down to two simple, powerful ideas that are meant to work together, not against each other.
I mean, this one sentence just flips the whole script on emotional regulation. We've spent our lives trying to control the car by killing the engine.
This says, no, the power was never the problem. The real work is to learn how to steer.
Let's just sit with that first part for a second. The emotion is the energy. That raw, primal force you feel, the rage, the fear, the grief, that is pure life force. It's not something broken that needs to be fixed or suppressed. It's the fuel in your tank.
And this is the other half. This is the skill we build. Not to get rid of that powerful energy, but to give it a conscious direction. To be able to hold it, to feel it, and then to wield it with purpose and with clarity.
And that's really the question this whole journey leaves us with. It's a huge shift in perspective, right? Maybe emotional mastery isn't about finding some calm, peaceful harbor. Maybe it's about becoming a skilled enough captain to navigate the ship in any weather. Thanks for joining me.